All right, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us. We have classrooms and we have learning commons librarians throughout the district, and we're delighted that you are able to join us today. You are about to enjoy Lotli, the Monarch butterfly, and this is our very first fine arts read aloud. Our hosts today are myself, I'm Andreas Berko, I'm the consultant for Fine and Performing Arts, and Paula Huddy, who is the consultant for INC. And I'm really grateful to Paula's help for helping me put this together. But of course, the star of our show today is Elizabeth Romo-Rabago, who is the author of Lotli, and we are delighted to welcome her here today. So I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth.
Hello, everyone. Well, a pleasure to be here with all of you today. Thank you so much for the invitation. You all are making my dream come true to be here and read my story that I co-author with my good friend, Enrique Gomez. And this story is about the monarch butterfly. And actually it has two sections. One is about a legend. And for those of you that are not familiar with what a legend means, is actually a story that captures facts, real things that happen in real time with mystics and mysterious story behind it. So a legend actually tries to explain something that you see. And in the traditional knowledge, especially with indigenous people, they use all these stories actually to explain even the color of the crow or even the butterflies. In the case of Lotli, the word actually Lotli comes from the language talked by the Aztecs, which is the indigenous people from Mexico. And the word papalotl is actually what means butterfly, and actually in the language of the Aztecs means flowers that fly. So inspired by these beautiful animals, my friend and I start developing this story, and based on all the upcycle work that we use, recycle corrugated cardboard boxes, because we love a lot of crafting activities and looking at ways as an opportunity to be productive. So we have a lot of crafts that we were like, you know what, let's start a story that involves pretty much all those little animals that we have already, and talk the story about this beautiful animal that connects also Mexico and Canada. And well, I'm originally from Mexico, and the monarch butterfly, as you can imagine, is very close to my heart because it connects these two beautiful cultures. And as you may know as well, the monarch butterfly actually flies from Mexico, US to Canada, and back and forth, which is a majestic journey as well. So I'm gonna start with the story, and then I'm gonna tell a little bit of fun facts about the monarch butterfly. And I hope you enjoy it. And please feel free to ask any question. Andreas is gonna be answering and letting me know if there is any question in the chat, and whatever conversation is happening there, please feel free to write a note or any question you may have as well. So let's start. So Lotli was born in a cocoa bean tree. She was a good friend of all the animals. She was curious and enjoyed exploring the forest. One of her biggest dreams was to fly. That is why she admired birds and their majestic flight, desiring to be like them. Also, she loved flowers with all those special colors and fragrances. I'm gonna keep showing you also a little bit of the images and the illustration that we have. So here's Lotli with all the flowers, the birds, and the forest, as you can see. Oh, if I could have wings like the bees, sighed the caterpillar, I will fly among the flowers and throughout the blue sky without rest. The bees were her most loved friends, and they appreciate her too, because when Lotli returned from her explorations, she told them where to find flowers to produce their honey. Here are Lotli's beloved friends, the bees. One afternoon, when she wandered into a hidden part of the forest, Lotli hears someone desperately cry for help. Help, help, please help me. Among the branches of a tree, there was something that Lotli saw for the very first time. She saw a beautiful, transparent, and brilliant web, as if it was made of 3 strands of rain. In this web, a bee was trapped. She was fighting desperately to free herself. Lotli recognized the bee as one of her friends. Oh no, poor thing. It got stuck in the web. Without thinking, the little brave caterpillar climbed her way up to the tree and reached the branch to which the web was fixed. Lotli stopped to admire the fascinating web and its marvelous structure. Then she realized that it was a terrible trap. Right away, she started cutting the threads of the web to free her friend. Lotli, thank you for coming to my rescue, said the little bee. So brave, Lotli. She was there helping her friend. At the same time, a big spider descended quickly, hanging from a single strand. Stop, thief! This bee belongs to me, said the furious spider. Lotli was so surprised that she stopped. Curious as always, she asked, who are you? And why is this web so beautiful, yet so dangerous? Don't flatter me, I am Lisa the spider. And this is my spider web. Here I trap the insects for my meal. Oh, meet Lisa the spider and the bee and Lotli. What a situation, huh? Your meal, exclaimed the horrified caterpillar. Why don't you eat plants instead? They give just a part of themselves to feed you. Eat plants? Whack! I don't eat green things. Enough with this conversation. I have not eaten in 3 days. This bee will be my meal. And I will not allow you to free her. The spider threatened. How can you be so indifferent? She has family. So what? I don't care. If I free her, then I will die of hunger, exclaimed the spider. It is my nature. As you eat plants to survive, I eat insects to stay alive, answered Lisa the spider. Here's Lisa the spider. It's not that bad. It's her nature. She needs to eat insects. The caterpillar, seeing the suffering of her friend, the bee, and the indifference of the spider, remembered her dream and thought about how unfair it was for a creature that was born to fly to have her life end this way. Lotli made a decision. Please, Lisa the spider, I beg you, free my friend and eat me. What? This is a trap, answered the distrustful spider. I know that as soon as I free your friend, you will escape. I promise you, bravely said Lotli. You can trust my word. So you can see that I'm telling the truth. I will wrap myself in your spider web. Here is Lotli wrapping herself into the spider web. Lisa cannot believe that is happening. While talking, she was getting tangled in the spider web strands that she had already cut. The spider was confused by the brave act of the caterpillar. So she had mercy on the bee and set her free. Moreover, the caterpillar was so big and fat that she represented at least 2 weeks of food. But Lisa the spider was not confident and also wrapped more strands around the caterpillar. The spider took much time and energy to trap her. Here is Lotli trap and the bees all free. Lisa just wrapping a little bit more, just in case that Lotli wants to escape. Finally, the caterpillar was completely wrapped, forming a silk bag called cocoon. Exhausted with all the energy used and lack of food, before leaving, the spider said, Good. Even though I'm starving, I don't have enough energy to eat you. Tomorrow, the caterpillar will be dead, and I will eat until I burst. So here is Lisa the spider, tired and just leaving for a rest before eating Lotli, while Lotli was all wrapped in the web, in the spider web. Lotli found herself trapped and devastated. Little by little, she felt that she was shocking and her body hurt intensely. She was suffering so much that she fainted. At this moment, the Supreme Mother appeared and said to the cocoon, Lotli, I will grant your greatest wish for your noble action. So here is beautiful. I don't know if you see the Supreme Mother. And then Lotli still suffering in the spider web. Immediately, the cocoon shone with an intense fluorescent light. Thunder sounded in the sky, and it started to rain, and the entire night passed. So it was a little bit painful and hard for Lotli, as you can see. Next morning, the little animals of the forest and the bees met next to the tree with the spider web. The bee advised them of the danger that Lotli was in. All her friends agreed to save the caterpillar. So look at all the beautiful friends that Lotli had. From the lizard, the fox, the skunk, the frog, of course, the bees, the owl, everyone stand there for Lotli. They were very sad. Free our friend, shouted all the angry mob. The spider was drowsy and in a bad mood. What is all this noise about? Get off my property. Lisa, who ignored the words and noise from the angry mob, descended her web to start eating her grand banquet. Oh, what a surprise. The cocoon started to open. Can you believe that? You can see the cocoon starting to open. And the spider, Lisa the spider, was so shocked. Out of it emerged a marvelous being that left everyone, including the spider, speechless. This new creature was really beautiful. Her body was slender, and when she unfolded her lovely wings, they were like the petals of many colored flowers. Look the beauty of her wings. Lotli got wings. And no one can believe what happened here. Not even the spider. The shocked spider asked, who are you? I'm Lotli, the caterpillar. Thank you, Lisa, for freeing me. What? Are you serious? What happened to the fat caterpillar I had trapped? I don't even know who you are. Totally shocked, Lisa the spider. And Lotli so happy, and even thanking Lisa the spider for freeing her. A glimmer of many colors dazzled everyone. The Supreme Mother made an appearance and explained, this is Lotli the caterpillar. For her sacrifice to give her life for her friend, the bee, I granted her wish to fly. From today on, to remember her noble action, all of her descendants will fly and carry in their wings the message of love for nature. But they will have to go through the same pain and suffering of the transformation called metamorphosis of the cocoon. And they will return to this forest where Lotli was born. They will also carry their name. They will be called papalotlis, which in the language of the Aztecs means flowers that fly. So you can see the beautiful forest, the Supreme Mother, and everyone were so peaceful and so happy for making Lotli able to fly and becoming a beautiful butterfly. Since then, Lotli flew happily through the skies and among the flowers that she loves so much. And this is the story of the origin of the monarch butterfly. So here is our Lotli in peace, flying through the skies and flying with her beloved bees, her beloved friends, the flowers and the forest where she lived. And this is actually a legend because, as you saw in the story, it actually talks about an idea of how the monarch butterfly actually started. What is the origin of the monarch butterfly? And the story also talks about some scientific facts. That is why I was saying metamorphosis, the change that actually the monarch butterfly has to go through their cycle, the life cycle of the monarch butterfly. So I hope you enjoyed the story. So that's kind of the first component of our book. And the second part is more about fun facts and interesting information about the monarch butterfly. So I'm gonna just read a few of those. And if you have so far questions, please feel free to just write it in the chat. And also keep in mind the story. If you have any part of the story or any character that you like or you feel more connected, please keep it in mind. Keep it, if you have a notebook at hand and your pencil, just write down a few things that you like about the story, and also thinking about the personality of Lotli, because we're going to be doing an activity at the end of the reading, the second part of the book. And I will ask you to start writing just a few things that you like about the story, what was the learning, and also the personality of Lotli, a lot of values to learn from her as well. So the second part is more about their biology. And when we talk about the biology, and now I'm wearing my biologist hat, is about what the animal actually does in her whole life cycle. And by life cycle, I mean from where is a little egg, because as you know, monarch butterflies starts from an egg. And actually, the mom or the female of a monarch butterfly lays down up to 400 little eggs in leaves, but in different leaves, not in one. So the chances of survival are actually higher. So when we talk about monarch butterfly, we think it's an animal, and it's actually a specific type of animal called insect. And for those of you that are on grade 4, grade 3, you are already familiar or start learning about what actually an insect is. And I want to show you here, I have an image of what actually an insect is defined. So an insect has 3 parts, 3 sections, and I don't know if you're able to see the 3 sections that I have with different colors even. So the insects have the head, the thorax, where usually actually the wings are located, and the abdomen. So those 3 sections are located in every single insect. Not all insects fly like Lotli, the monarch butterfly, but all insects are going to have these 3 divisions: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. So that's important because it's what actually helps biologists and people that study insects to identify and to separate and identify differences between them. The other actually characteristic of insect is that it has 6 legs. So usually, the legs are located in the thorax. So the second part. Another interesting fact about the monarch butterfly is their life cycle. And actually, the monarch butterfly by itself is representative of metamorphosis. And by metamorphosis, I mean changes that happen. So the monarch butterfly, that like any other insect that has to go through the process from being an egg, and I don't know if you're able to see also the image that we have here of Lotli. So there is the egg, and we have it in English and Spanish here, the egg. And then we have the caterpillar, which is what actually Lotli was. And then when she got into the cocoon, the web threads of the Lisa the spider, that was the stage of the cocoon. And after that, it becomes a beautiful butterfly. So usually when it's an egg, it's about 4 days. that last. And then we have the caterpillar that increases in size. And when the caterpillar is actually lives about 2 weeks, and when it's a caterpillar, their main purpose is eating and getting very fat, because then it's going to be a little bit on starvation when it's inside the cocoon, and when all the transformation of the butterfly happens. And then after it actually hatches from the cocoon, and it becomes the beautiful butterfly that we see. And are you able to see me? No. Yeah. So the monarch butterfly, what they eat. So when they're caterpillar, like Lotli, when they are caterpillar, they feed on the leaves of some little plants called milkweeds. And actually, these milkweeds are located along the way of the migration from Mexico, US to Canada, especially here in Western Canada, is in Lethbridge. And there is very common to find milkweeds, especially in nature, in wild areas. So, but these plants are very interesting because they are poisonous to other animals. So when the caterpillar eats this plant, it incorporates this poison into their body, which protects them from being eaten by different predators. And one of the predators, or for those that are not familiar with this word, is who else eat the monarch butterflies. In this case, the mantis, for example, which is another insect, a little bit slightly bigger than the monarch butterfly, eat these animals. So the monarch butterflies, on the other hand, feed on the nectar of this milkweed. So when they are a butterfly, so they don't have this kind of dentition to eat, but they have a structure in their mouth, which is more like a long tongue that they extended, and they eat from the nectar of these plants, of these milkweed. So they continue eating milkweed even when they are monarch butterflies. So the bright color of their wings warns their predators that they are poisonous. During this stage, their weight is 0.5 grams. This is equivalent to a paper clip. And they measure 10 centimeters from wing to wing. And where does the monarch butterfly live? And that was some of the questions that you also had for us. So the monarch butterfly is native to North America and South America. And as I will tell you in the section below, some of them undertake an amazing migration from Canada to Mexico. During November to March, they inhabit the Oyamel fir and pine forests in the state of Mexico, Michoacan. These forests are located at the 3,000, can you imagine, 3,000 meters. Actually, 2 years ago, before COVID happened, I had the opportunity to go there, and I got a little bit dizzy because it's too high. And especially that I was actually running going up, and that was not the smartest way to do that. So you get dizzy. And then you see this majestic forest full of monarch butterflies that actually looks like orange. So it provides that sensation of orange, and they actually group all together to protect themselves from hail and snow and any rain, and actually to warm each other. So it's kind of the hibernation. So when they are in Mexico, usually they are hibernating. And then in March is when they start their migration up north. And then I also would like just to two last interesting facts about the monarch butterfly. So some monarchs perform an amazing journey each year, flying back and forth from the forests of Canada, the United States, and Mexico. This migration includes more than 4,500 kilometers. That is equivalent to walking around the world 11 times without using a plane or a car. Can you believe that? How long it will take us? So that is why it's so amazing that these little animals can do that and perform that in less than 9 months. So when I was telling you about the life cycle of the monarch butterfly and telling you that the monarch butterfly lasts about 2 weeks in average, this monarch butterfly that actually make the migration, because not all the monarch butterflies do the migration, those that migrate are the exceptional one that we call it Methuselah. So that's a special generation, and they can last up to 9 months. So that's very amazing. And I have also a map that I don't know if I can show it, but But well, I know that your geography is very good. So it's just to locate Mexico, US, and Canada along the way. And as I was telling you, the monarch butterfly goes through different areas. They hibernate in Mexico, but they feed along the way, right? And when I'm talking about feeding along the way, it's so important that we keep their environment. We keep these flowers, especially the milkweeds, that they eat from. So what can we do? So the last thing that I want to talk about is what can we do to protect the monarch butterfly? So far, we have learned how extraordinary monarch butterflies are and how important they are to our environment. However, their habitat is in danger by deforestation. And so deforestation, I mean cutting trees. And as we learn, they live in the forest. And if we don't have forests, therefore we won't have more monarch butterflies. And forests also are usually cut because we need the wood for our furniture, even for our paper, for our books, and everything needs paper and needs wood. So the main thing here is to reduce that consumption as well. Further north, their habitat is also being destroyed by the use of pesticides. So when the monarch butterfly goes from Mexico to the US, it goes through all these areas that now is agriculture. So they use a lot of pesticides. So it's chemical fertilizers that actually kill the milkweed and the plants that they actually feed on. So that some farmers use to eliminate the milkweeds. So it's a weed for them, right? So as we learned earlier, the milkweed is the basis of the monarch's food throughout its various growth stages, from caterpillar to butterfly. Finally, climate change. And I'm sure you have heard about climate change and how important it is to take action. And it's also affecting the monarch butterfly migration because cold temperatures are at the Ojamel Field in Mexico forest are expected to happen with climate change, as well as severe weather events along their way, up to Canada, such as wildfires that could threaten their ecosystems. So the good news is that there are so many actions that we can make from home at our level, from the classroom, that each of us could do and undertake to help their protection to these beautiful and amazing animals. So some ideas are, well, share the story of Lotli. Share about animals that you see in your garden, that you see when you go for a walk. Share about all these fun facts that you learn in the school, in the classroom, when you are reading, when you are actually watching a documentary. All this sharing knowledge is so important. And be respectful with animals. And the way you are respectful with your teacher, with your adults, with your friends, the same way with our animals that surround us. Reduced consumption is also very important, as I was telling you. If we are cutting the forest to produce all this nice furniture made of wood, it will be nice to actually reduce if we can, or to look at those furniture that are actually coming from a very responsible source of wood. So they replant their forest. Reuse paper, we have been talking about reusing, and something that I also enjoy doing is upcycling, and upcycling is also called the creative reusing. Reusing unwanted materials like cardboard and plastic bottles or any material that usually we put in the recycling bin, and do something useful with that can actually prolongate the lifespan of those articles or those material. And recycle is also important. I'm sure you already are familiar with what goes where. And if not, I'm sure your teachers also tells you and reminds you where you should be putting your paper, your aluminum cans. And if you have compost at home or at the classroom, that is also a great way to help the soil to regenerate and to heal our soil that has been also erode or damaged because of environmental conditions or because we are using pesticides or chemical fertilizers that actually affect and kill a lot of the natural animals that live in those soils. So there's, as you can see, I can continue listing a lot of things that you can do from home and at our level help the monarch butterfly and other animals that share this beautiful world with them. So I don't know if you have any questions so far for me. We have questions. That's good. Thank you. Please, Andrea, ask me questions.
So Elizabeth, there are a number of questions that were submitted in advance.
Okay.
And there are some questions that have come through as you've been speaking and telling your story. So we've been talking a lot about caterpillars, and one of the questions that came in was, how does the caterpillar form into a butterfly? What is happening inside that makes it do that?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because we would love to have a microscope to see exactly what is happening inside. It's so secretive, right? You see just that bag called cocoon, where all this transformation happened. But actually, if you observe a monarch butterfly, it continue keeping that caterpillar, that structure of the Lotli that we saw. So what is happening is a bunch of transformation chemistry that is interacting there and indicating where you're going to be forming the wings of the monarch butterfly. Those three sections that we talk about that define an insect. So what is going to be the head, then where is going to be located their abdomen, their thorax, and in the thorax is where the wings are going to happen. So it's a lot of, it's like when you're putting together, when you're cooking. So it's a lot of things happening in that mixer. So all this mixer of chemistry and genetics as well is happening there that indicates what cells is going to be transforming in that beautiful wings, and what is going to be the head, what is going to be the abdomen. So then when you see actually the hatching of the monarch butterfly coming out from the cocoon, you see actually the transformation of that, all this chemistry that the caterpillar already had, those ingredients that were just interacting and just evolving, transforming, changing the structure. But in a way, that caterpillar already have those ingredients. So it was just a matter of putting all together, mixing in that cocoon, and then transform into that beautiful butterfly that we see. But it sounds like magic, but it's a lot of chemistry that is happening there, and biology as well. So thank you for the question, but I just tried to simplify. It's a lot of chemistry that is happening there, for sure. And
how long does that process take?
Yeah, so the egg is about 4 days, and then it becomes caterpillar. So the caterpillar, it lasts about 2 weeks, and then the caterpillar, after that, those 2 weeks, that keeps eating, because the caterpillar eats everything. And even the leaf and the egg, the shell of the egg where it hatches. So it is everything. So then after those 2 weeks, it gets cocoon. So the cocoon, it lasts about 14 days, 15 days approx. And then after that, the monarch butterfly comes out. The monarch butterfly, as I was telling you, it can last 2 weeks in average, but there are special generation of monarch butterflies that are migratory, and those are the Matusalem generation. And those last up to 9 months. So those are wonderful. But again, how they know is by instinct. And as you know, instinct, and for those that have animals or pets at home, you know that the animal just know that. It's just a knowledge that they know, that you don't need to train your dog to go and pee. They know immediately that you don't need to train them to feed. So it's just a knowledge that they know by itself. So the same way with the monarch butterfly, they know those special generations that they need to fly. They just feel the drive to just fly north, up north. So it's just amazing.
We do have a lot of questions, but I know you want to do an activity with everybody. So maybe I'll ask you one of the questions that's very commonly been asked today, which is, how did you find your inspiration for the book? And how did you become interested in monarch butterflies?
Thank you for the question. And well, I always have loved animals. And I also study biology back home in Mexico. And one day, one of my entomologist class, which is the science that study insects, asked us to choose an animal that you would like to study and to present in the group. So at that time, I was so fascinated with a lot of insects, but particularly the monarch, because as soon as I learned that the monarch butterfly can fly that far, 4,500 kilometers, as I mentioned to you, it was the equivalent of walking 11 times around the globe. So I was just like, you know what, I would love to learn more about it. And then I met my friend, Enrique Gomez, And he is all about writing stories and fantasy stories. And we were like, you know what, let's team up and let's do something about it, because I love about the biology of the monarch butterfly. I have a lot of interesting facts about it, and he loves about creating stories and legends, especially is his expertise. So at that time, I already had my social enterprise where we were doing a lot of upcycling activities at the schools and with the community. And he said, you know what, you already have pretty much all the characters. Let's just put it together and make sure we create a story that talks about the beautiful, wonderful monarch butterfly biology, but at the same time adds that mystery to the story, which is, what if not just chemistry explains or biology explains the origin of a monarch butterfly, which I love. That is why I love actually the touch. And I hope you like as well the touch of that imaginative or more fantasy explanation about the origin of the monarch butterfly. What if that supreme mother actually happened to exist and transform and give this, granted the caterpillar Lotli for her values and encourage her to follow her dreams. So I thank you again, because just by being here, my dream is coming true. So I hope you stick to your dreams your whole life. And I have an activity, but I don't know if you have more questions for me.
Let's move on to the activity.
Excellent.
And if we have a bit of time at the end, we'll address some of those other questions, because there are a lot of them. And so people are very interested in monarch butterflies.
I'm so glad to hear that. Please, or email it to me. I'm happy to actually follow up individual with each of the questions. So we want to do a monarch butterfly. Of course, because we don't have enough time, we won't be able to do it like some of your teachers already did a couple of weeks ago, made of cardboard. But we're going to have a simple version of Lotli. So we're going to do, I know that you already have a piece of paper. So if you have a piece of paper, just fold it halfway. So like this. So you have your paper, hold it half, just half, and then again half. So what I also love about nature is their symmetry. And the way to actually divide the two parts of the wings is with this line. So if you have that half, you're able to actually remember the three parts of the insect is the head. Then you write down the two wings, because it has two pair of wings, our beautiful monarch butterfly. And then don't forget about writing, also sketching the abdomen. So you have one section of that. Once you cut it, then you get a butterfly like this. What I did here is just, if you have a marker, you can just refine that template, and it looks something like this. Once you have this, and I will give you some time to write and do that, I have a few questions for you that I would like you to start writing in the wings. So one question is, what do you like about the story of Lotli? So if you can just maybe talk about, well, and I'm gonna write down here, I'm very biased, of course, but what I like about the story is the perseverance of Lotli and the courage to help her friends. So it's so beautiful to see when you are actually driven by helping others, and giving also to others is actually more fulfilling than even receiving. So that's something that I love about the story. But I'm curious to know, what do you like about the story? So if you can write down, what do you like about the story of Lotli? And another thing that I also like about the story is the chain of love. So do the right things and Mother Nature will protect you, and perhaps she will make your dreams come true. And so I don't know what you will like, do you like about the story of Lotli? The other thing is the personality of Lotli. If you can tell a little bit about some characteristics that you like and you feel connected, because maybe you are like that as well. Friendly, loving, caring, empathetic, respectful for others, for nature. I think all these are values and personality that describes actually Lotli, and that I would like you to also kind of write down. So it reminds you also as well, this butterfly, about the story, about today's engagement. I would love to see you though. I just imagined you, and I imagined you as an energetic kid, energetic person, and caring. So that is why you are here. listening to the story. I hope you enjoy it. And I really would love you to write down, what did you like about the story? What do you like about Lotli's personality? I also read a bunch of fun facts about the monarch butterfly. So if you can just write down few, maybe 3 fun facts that you didn't know about the monarch butterfly that you learned, that will be also awesome if you can write it down. And something that is always important, especially being an environmental educator, is action. What concrete actions do you think you can do from home, from your classroom, to protect the monarch butterfly and their beautiful environment? So think about all these things and write it down. So I put few things. In my case, I try to reduce consumption, and whenever I have a material at home that is ready to go to the garbage or ready to go to the landfill, I try to actually do something about that. If you love crafts, there is a lot of tutorials. I have also a lot of online tutorials if you're interested to learn what else you can do with all these unwanted materials that we generate at home. So that's something that you can do as well. Share knowledge. It's always awesome to talk with others. We are social entities. We love talking. We miss that during these COVID times, but that's not a limitation for us to connect with our loved ones by phone, by email, by text, by right now, the way we are doing it. So sharing is caring, and connecting with others is so important, especially during this time. So if you can write down those things and just decorate your beautiful Lotli the way you want, with the colors you want, just add your own touch. That's pretty much what I would like you to have, just to kind of a nice reminder of today's session. And I really thank you for your time. I don't know if we are able to see their butterflies or some of these comments, Andreas, from the chat. Anything you like about the story that you would like to share, or any new vocabulary that you learn, or anything else. So that's pretty much what I had for today.
Maybe Elizabeth,
Yeah.
you can go through the instructions for folding again.
Oh, yeah.
I think for
Sure.
some of our younger students, that might have been a little quick.
Oh,
and
yeah.
While you were asking the questions, I typed them into the chat so teachers can refer to them there if they would like to. And of course, you're certainly welcome to continue the project after today's session. It can be something that you would work on after recess, maybe, or during recess or during lunchtime, because a lot of our students are having to stay in their classrooms during lunchtime. And so this might be a good idea. So Elizabeth is just going to go through those steps again so that we can, in case anybody missed it.
So you have this paper, you fold it half, mark it, fold it half again, mark it. So mark those lines, are important lines that we can use as reference. Then we're gonna have the head, mark the head, mark the first wing. And the first wing is actually gonna cover that first part of that folding that you did. The second part on the bottom, and don't forget about the abdomen. So you do something like this. So we have the head, we have the wings, where the thorax is located, and then we have the abdomen, something like this. And then we cut. And I can cut it as well, so they can see the cutting. So it's easier if you have with the marker, and actually you can keep a little bit, so it remains that, and it gives the shape around. Then you have your butterfly here. Something like this.
Very good.
And what I did was just put with the marker, just around. and then write what you like about the story and about Lotli and things that you learn and actions that you can take at home. And just you can put the happy face of Lotli. Their essence remain. It's actually Lotli is here in the middle, just with wings.
Yes, and once again, those 4 questions that Elizabeth posed to the students, in case you can't see the chat, because some of the students might not be able to, is what did you like about the Lotli story? What is Lotli's personality like? What are some facts about the monarch butterfly that you learned today or that you know? And how can you protect the monarch butterfly and nature?
So it's a little bit purplish color. And when the caterpillar eats, is actually the leaves. When it's a monarch butterfly, then feeds on the nectar because it has a lot of flowers. And it looks like a weed for, I guess, for a farmer usually, because it just grows everywhere. And it maybe not so big flowers, purple flowers, so it's just small. Maybe not so aesthetics or so beautiful, but for monarch butterflies are so important. And that is why is I will say a problem or an issue for monarch butterflies, because they just eat on, are very specific. So their diet is just milkweed. So if we don't have that, then that is why they are in danger. So.
Well, and I think we could probably answer questions all day, but a lot of our students are having to go to recess now.
Oh, okay, no,
and,
have your break.
We're going to wrap things up now. So thank you all students for joining us today.
Yes,
thank you especially to Elizabeth Romo-Rabago, who is taking her morning to teach you about this important insect in our lives.
My pleasure.
And thank you so much to Paula Huddy. Students and teachers, make sure you check out the Upcycling Challenge. And there's Paula turning on her camera there. Paula, do you want to talk really quickly about that, or what do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually going to make you guys a resource. So I've already started making a monarch butterfly resource where we'll have the read out loud and all the information for the Upcycled Challenge. So I'll be sending that out to anyone who's participated today to help. And then even like Google Earth, so you can actually go see the butterflies and see what they look like.
Really cool. And what else? I think that's pretty much it. So thanks again, everybody. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we hope you continue to learn lots more about Lotli, the monarch butterfly.